ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Welcome to the discussion on puja. We shall start with the discussion on the science of worship first. After some discussion and introduction of the science of worship, then we shall proceed to the proper mantras of the pujas and the rituals of the pujas and the mudras and other different things. Now, we shall go to the science of worship. So, as we are dealing about puja or worship, puja is defined in one of the scriptures called Kularnava Tantra as that act which quells the waves of karmic flow resulting from past births, puts an end to the cycle of births and deaths, and offers complete fulfillment. The complete fulfillment is in the sense of achievement of desired object, namely total self-surrender of the devotee to the deity, of the worshipper to the worshipped. The complete or cherished fruit of worship, its very culmination, consists in the loss of the worshipper's self-identity, ego, and in the worshipped. We lose our self-identity in the worshipped, that is the Lord. In this context, we are reminded of the incident of Sri Ramakrishna's life incidents, that is the Shodashi Puja. In the concluding stage of Sri Ramakrishna's momentous spiritual practices, every reader of his life knows that Sri Ramakrishna concluded his wonderful and varied spiritual practices spread over 12 long years with the worship of the primordial power, Adya Shakti, as Shodashi, invoking her in the body of Sri Sharada Devi. Shodashi can also be called as Rajarajeshwari, Lalita Parameshwari, so many names are there. The Divine Mother or Adya Shakti, the primordial power. Now we invoke it on a chakra 3D symbol. It may be in an image. But here the speciality was Sri Ramakrishna invoked that primordial power in the body of Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi. While describing the culmination of that wonderful worship, Swami Sharadananda writes, Sharadanandaji has written the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that is Ramakrishna the Great Master. In that, Sharadanandaji writes, the worshipper, Sri Ramakrishna, lost in Samadhi. Samadhi is very high state of yoga where you lose your ego. You just merge in Parabrahman, the highest Godhead. There will be no difference between the subject and the object. So that is highest state of yoga where you merge in that highest state of God, Samadhi, transcendental consciousness. Became completely merged and identified with the goddess, who too was lost in Samadhi, that is Mother Sharda Devi also lost herself in Samadhi. Here indeed is the fulfillment of the science of worship. What is the fulfillment of the science of worship which we are dealing, the science of worship? This sadhana of Sri Ramakrishna re-authenticates the science of worship and augurs well for its glorious future in the lives of men and women. What is that? What is the fulfillment? The fulfillment is the aim of worship is clearly brought out in another definition of puja. Puja or worship is the oneness of the worshipper and the worship, that is Ishvara. The supreme result of this feeling of oneness of the worshipper and the worshipped is verily the realization of the true nature of self, Atmopalabdhihi, Brahmopalabdhihi, of the attainment of Brahman. And puja is one of the most useful steps in the achievement of this ideal. The supreme objective of all actions like puja, etc., is the realization of your real nature, the self, Atman, or the attainment of Brahman, the highest Godhead. This is clearly indicated in the Bhagavad Gita as well. It is indicated in the Bhagavad Gita as well. What is that? What is told in Bhagavad Gita? It is told that knowledge sacrifice, Gnana Yajna, the sacrifice of the knowledge. You should not tell the sacrifice of the knowledge, it may give a different meaning. It is the knowledge sacrifice. Gnana Yajna is superior to the sacrifice performed with external articles, because all actions like sacrifice, worship, etc., finally culminate in knowledge, gnana, the knowledge of the self, the knowledge of your real nature. Needless to say, there is no difference between complete knowledge, pure gnanam, and the attainment of Brahman, Brahma Sakshatkara. The Devi Bhagavatam and other great scriptures say that worship is of two kinds. What are the two kinds of worship? It is external and internal, Bahya and Antarika. External and internal. The external worship is divided into two streams. What are they? One which follows the injunctions of Vedas, and it is called Vaidika Puja or Vedic worship. And another one is which follows the injunctions of Tantras, which is a mixture of Vedas, Puranas. So that is called Tantra. Vedanta also. Vedas include Vedanta. So that is called Tantric, Vedic worship and Tantric worship. In the comprehensive and integral framework of the Indian spiritual thought structure, both these streams of Vedic and Tantric are closely intermingled from very ancient times. As a matter of fact, Yajna or Havan or the Homa, what we call, of the Vedas, these are all the Vedic terms: Yajna, Yaga, Homa, Havan. These are all the terms of Veda. Yajna of the Vedas and Puja of the Tantra or Puranas have equivalent connotation. And the primary aim of both is the same. From very ancient times, the Vedic philosophic truths, and tantric rites like worship, etc., have been conjoined. Even in the Vedic worship, we see a lot of tantric mantras, tantric practices which have come into that, and it is conjoined now, mixed up. So, why have they been conjoined and have thus been fulfilling each other? Each compensating for the other's limitations. Because Vedic worship like Yaga, Yagna, and other things were meant for the period of the Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and now in the Kali Yuga, the whole society has changed. Veda is not so much followed by people, very few people follow it. So now to compensate for the others' limitations, both have the limitations, so it has been conjoined. On certain auspicious occasions, the performance of both the Vedic Yajna as well as the Tantric Puja becomes essential. Yajna or Yaga or Havan or Homa is a special contribution of Vedas, Puja of the Tantras. Vedas and Tantras are complementary to each other. They are not something separate, they are complementing each other. The Vedic tradition is founded on the Vedic scripture and the Upanishads, while the innumerable tantric scriptures form the basis of the tantric tradition. Needless to say, there is no real difference between Brahman, the supreme principle of the Vedas, and the Shakti, the power, the energy, the primordial power, which is the supreme principle of the Tantra. Because Vedas declare Brahman as the highest ideal to be attained, whereas Tantras concentrate on the primordial power of Brahman. It's one and the same, just like the fire and its burning power, as Sri Ramakrishna puts it. So, just like if somebody concentrate on just the fire and someone else concentrate on the power, the burning power of the fire, is there any difference? It's just like that. So, the Vedas are focusing on the Parabrahma, and the Tantras are focusing on the primordial power of the Parabrahma. That's all. They are complementing each other. There is not much real difference between them. The puja performed in accordance with the tantric injunctions is called tantric puja, while that done according to the Vedic rules is called Vedic puja. Apart from these general distinctions, there are several other types of divisions among the pujas. Now, with a basis, adhara, sadhara puja, with a basis. Then niradhara puja, without a basis. Nitya puja, performed daily, nitya, every day. Naimittika puja, performed on special occasions. Kamya puja, performed with desires, to fulfill some desires. Sattvika puja, unostentatious, that is without much external paraphernalia or show off. Rajasika puja, sophisticated and pompous. Swabhavika puja, naturally it comes out, etc. However, the subject of our present discussion is the two aspects of worship, external and internal. Just to tell you, there are so many varieties, so I give you all these differences. But let us now concentrate on the external and internal worship. External worship, as it is, the term itself explains it, it is self-explanatory, is referred to in the Mahanirvana Tantra as lower than the lowest, adhama, lower than the lowest. The highest spiritual discipline is practice of Brahman consciousness. The next is meditation. Lower than this Brahman consciousness is meditation. Chanting of hymns and japa are lower than this, lower disciplines. And lower than the lowest is external worship with the help of an image. Now, you should not get confused with the term loya. The term loya doesn't mean lower than the lowest, is not used here in a derogatory sense. On the other hand, it is a tacit Acknowledgement that the external worship is a clear and specific step for attaining the goal of spiritual striving based on the qualifications of the aspirant. Now, can we tell that the kindergarten, the first grade, second grade, the primary school is lower and it is unimportant? No, they are the stepping stones. If you have to climb the roof, can we ignore or tell that they are derogatory, the lower steps? No, without climbing the lower steps, you can't reach the roof. So it's just like that. It is based on the qualifications. For the people who are at the lower rung of the ladder, this will help them to go to the higher rung. Common mass. So just like they tell devotion, bhakti yoga is for the weak-minded people or common general people. So meaning, don't think that bhakti yoga is a weak yoga. It can't be. There is a beautiful saying which I have heard. What is that? Bhakti is the weapon of the weak, but not a weak weapon. It's a very strong weapon. Bhakti is the weapon of the weak, but not a weak weapon. Likewise, here, though external puja is for the people commonality, because without you first passing through those grades, how can you come up to the higher level? Very few, hand few are there at the very high level of Brahman consciousness. Maybe one in a million, one in a billion, maybe there at that stage. We are also reaching that stage, but we have to pass through this. So, based on the qualifications, this is the first stepping stone. Even the 1,000-mile journey has to stop with the first step, isn't it? So, this is the first step and primary step which will prepare you for that higher Brahman consciousness without which you cannot move. So, that is external worship. On the other hand, it is a tacit acknowledgement that the external worship is a clear and specific step for attaining the goal of spiritual striving based on the qualification of the aspirant. There is possibility of misconception in regard to the meaning of the above quoted statement if the true import of this scriptural declaration is not correctly understood. There are two aspects of worship, external and internal. Each is of equal value. Some people imagine that mental worship is superior to external worship. Just like, can you tell that internal purity of this body and mind is important than the external purity? No, both are very important. You have to cleanse your external body as well as your internal mind. Likewise, secular external and internal worship, they are both important. You cannot neglect. Nothing is higher, nothing is lower. So these two aspects of worship, external and internal, each is of equal value. Some people imagine that mental worship is superior to external worship, and only the less qualified spiritual aspirant perform the external worship. This is not true. In fact, total worship is a combination of both internal and external worship. When your mind is dissipated, going here and there to get the focus, to get the concentration, you have to start with external worship. You can't directly get into the internal worship. The mind will not allow you because it's running here and there. No concentration. So, to get concentration, to focus your mind, you need specifically the external worship has to be done, without which you cannot go inside to the internal worship. So, in fact, total worship is a combination of both internal and external worship. In any practice, secular or spiritual, differences in the competence of the aspirants cannot be denied. So, the competence, the qualification of the aspirants is very, very important. We have seen in olden days while admitting them to the school. They would give a test, though he may be little aged, maybe he's 6 or 7 years, but they will give him a test. When they see that his knowledge of grasping things is very low, they will not put him to the second grade or third grade. They will take him from the first grade. They will prepare him nicely. Then he will be promoted. Likewise, that is called, even in the secular world, secular gaining the secular knowledge or whatever spiritual everywhere. So differences in the competence of the aspirant, qualification of the aspirant cannot be denied. This is all the more true in the field of spiritual practices. The scriptural injunctions in regard to practice vary according to the aspirant's taste. People at different level of evolution, they are fit for different things, or they may like, the taste may be different. It's only the stages of evolution. People like different things. You cannot force something upon a person who doesn't like it, or is at a different level of evolution. We have to go down to his level. That's why many places we have seen the scriptures are described as mother, compassionate mother, who is so compassionate, who is so all forgiving. She will come down to our level wherever we are. I may be at a very, very lower stage. She will come down to our stage, lift us to the next stage and the next stage, and help us go to the higher stages. So that's why we have to note this. The competence, the scriptural injunctions in regard to practice vary according to the aspirant's taste, capacity of comprehension, and fitness. It is not discriminating, it is only helping people from the level they are in to rise up to the next level. So we should never compare. We are not discriminating. It is just, Ramakrishna used to give a beautiful example. We all know that people who have read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna or the life of Sri Ramakrishna, there you can see. What is that? Ramakrishna tells people worship God according to their tastes and temperaments. So you cannot condemn that image worship is wrong. Worshipping God with the help of some image or photo, you cannot totally tell that it is wrong. Never, you cannot do that. How? Ramakrishna tells people worship God according to their tastes and temperaments. He gives the example of mother. See, mother, always the mother is given, just like the scriptures are also like mother. The mother, compassionate mother, though it is hard task, she will be doing a lot of work. Because of that, it will increase her burden, but she never feels that as a burden. The mother cooks the same vegetable differently for her children. The same vegetable, the same curry. Very young children, they have not good digestion, they are yet growing children. For them, there will be no strong spices. The food will be very simple, easy to digest. She will prepare a different dish for small, very young children. Then the growing children, strong youth, they want different type of food. So for them, she will put lot of spices, pungent things and very strong things, because they need that. So she will prepare a different dish for them. Then for the middle-aged, it's a different thing. For the old people, it's yet different. So likewise, just like the mother cooks the same vegetable or curry differently for her children, that each one may have what suits his digestion or stomach. In a funny way, we can tell some people may have gastronomical powers of astronomical proportions. What is gastronomical powers? Digestive power. they may have to the extent of astronomical proportions. So for them, very strong food with spices and that and this, they can digest it. So the mother cooks the same vegetable or curry differently for her children, that each one may have what suits his stomach. This is a beautiful example given by Sri Ramakrishna to tell that God has made different arrangement to worship him, to reach him for different levels of people. Although the knowledge or attainment of Brahman, that is highest form of God, is the supreme goal. See, Brahman here is God in his highest aspect of Nirakara Nirguna. What is Nirakara? Nirakara means formless, Nirguna means attributeless. In the external world, you see, some people have attained only to the extent of Nirakara. They do not know what is Nirguna. So it is Nirakara Saguna. Some of the people are telling no image worship and other things. They criticize other people telling that they worship God with form, images. They have attained only to the extent of Nirakara Saguna Brahma. But our Hinduism has gone beyond barriers, every barriers. There they tell God has infinite aspects. It may be even greater than Nirakara Nirguna. We do not know. We cannot limit God. That's what Ramakrishna used to tell. Do not limit God. You cannot limit God. So, whatever it might be, although the knowledge or attainment of Brahman, God in his highest aspect, is the supreme goal of worship, upasana, etc., are enjoined in the scriptures as aids to the gradual attainment of this goal according to the differences in the qualification of the aspirants. Now, people tell, oh, we should worship God only in His infinite form. No, no, again, infinite form means the form comes in His infinite as infinity or without form, all pervading, omnipotent, omnipresent, infinite. Now, ask them, what do you mean by infinity? Can you imagine infinity? They may be claiming or telling very big words sounding, big sounding words like infinity, omnipotent, omnipresent. It may be just words. Just ask them what do you mean by that? Have you realized that? No, they an iota of knowledge of that will not be there to the people who are claiming, oh, we have to worship without form. God should be seen only as infinity, without form, and that and this. They are just only words for them. They don't mean what they tell. They have not realized it. They're just following because somebody told something. They're just telling that. Have they realized that? That's very, very important here. So ask them the question, what is omnipotent? What is infinity? What is omnipresent? No idea. So God, out of infinite compassion, He comes down to our level, takes different form. We claim, those people claim that God is all powerful, Sarvashakta. Then if you tell that God cannot take forms, then you have made God less powerful, that He cannot take form. He cannot take human form. That means God is not all powerful. So when God is all powerful, He can take form. He can come down to our level to help us. That's why you see in Hinduism, a lot of gods and goddesses with form and attributes are different ideals set for different people. That's why out of realization, Ramakrishna used to tell, as many people, so many paths. As many people, each individual has to have a different path to God. You cannot force anything to anybody. That's why the first and foremost condition in Hinduism or spiritual life or in our religion, Indian tradition is liberty, freedom is the first and foremost condition. Freedom. So as many people, so many paths. That's the reason Swami Vivekananda was telling humorously, there should have been more 330 million, more than 330 millions of gods. It has become less because maybe at that time, in those days when this concept came, the population of India was 330 millions. So different number, the different aspects of gods might have arose there. So it would have been more. Now the population is 130 million. So they need, that's why you can see in India and Hinduism, different gods, different sage, different sects coming up. As many people, so many paths, nothing to worry about that. Do not worry about that. Focus on your own, this thing, where you are, and from there you go up. Do not worry about others. So, men at the first stage of spiritual development have to make use of something external. And when the inner self becomes purified, they turn to more abstract conceptions. Only when you purify your mind, reach to the next higher level, then you can understand the abstract conceptions of God. The impurity of the aspirant's mind gets eliminated to the extent he progresses in worship. A kind of ethereal peace and bliss gradually envelops his heart. Then he gets established in truth and power. The mantras he utters becomes awakened, charged with the power of consciousness and the penetrating power of his subtle intelligence, dhi or medha, to grasp finer truths continues to grow as he earnestly persists with the utterances of the awakened mantras. He then attains the real fruit of worshipping the Supreme Lord, namely the peace that passeth understanding and self fulfillment. The peace that passeth understanding, that is self fulfillment. So, at this stage, no separate spiritual discipline called worship exists for the sadhaka. His whole life is then converted into an unceasing puja, worship. That's why Swami Vivekananda used to tell, first we should start with work is separate, worship is separate. Then, as you go on purifying yourself, then you will see you have to do that as work as worship. Then, when you continue, then all your work, every aspect of your work becomes worship. Work is worship. Work and worship, work as worship, work is worship. So these are all the different stages. Then you come to such a level, then every bit of work you do, every second in your life, you will convert it into worship because you have purified your mind. Then you don't see the difference at this stage. No separate spiritual discipline called worship exists for the sadhaka. His whole life is then converted into an unceasing puja, worship. Okay, we will stop this discussion on the science of worship and let us go to the proper or actual ritual, the mantras and other things. Okay, last time I had started with the invocation mantras like Guru Pranama, Ganesha mantra, then the mantra of Narayana, then Achamanam. We'll go through that again. I've chanted the first Ganesha mantra. You are all of you definitely will be familiar with this mantra, so I will just chant it. You can get it anywhere. And the meaning too. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. So this invoking Lord Ganesha to remove all the obstacles for the work now puja you are doing, to remove all the obstacles you are praying to Lord Ganesha. Then the Guru, our Guru who has given us mantra diksha, who is leading us in spiritual life, who has shown the path to God, our Guru, the mantra Guru, the diksha Guru, we have to worship him. So that mantra you all know, so I need not go on explaining it. Om, only the pronunciation is to be correctly done. Om Gurur Brahma, because it is Guruhu Brahma, that Visarga will be changed while pronouncing as Gurur Brahma. For easier pronunciation in Sanskrit, that Visarga will be changed into Gurur Brahma. Instead of telling Guruhu, it cuts the pronunciation, the speed of the pronunciation cuts to make it easy. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guruhu Sakshat. See here, I separated it, or you can do it Gurur Sakshat, Guruhu Sakshat, Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So in the Vibhakti Pratyaya, the parts of speech or that case endings, that of Gurave, to Guru, it becomes not, most of us pronounce it as Guruve. It is not Guruve. It is in Sanskrit, it should be Gurave. So that pronunciation should be very clear. It is Gurave. Gu G-U Ra R-A Ve V-E Gurave. So correct that pronunciation, because most of the people I have seen, they make this mistake. It is not Guruve. It is Gurave. Gurave Namaha. Okay. Now we are going to the next invocation mantra of Narayana. Last time I told the transliteration, that is the spelling of all the mantras and the meaning also. Now I am only chanting it. Om Sarva Mangala Mangalyam Varenyam Varadam Shubham Narayanam Namaskritya Sarva Karmani Karayet. So the Lord Narayana, who gives auspiciousness to the auspicious things, who is the giver of boons, who is to be venerated or respected, that Narayana, going down, doing pranams to him, paying oblations or paying obeisance to him, Sarvakarmani Karayet. We have to do all the works first remembering him or doing pranams to him. That's the meaning, simple meaning. Now we had finished the discussion on Achamanam. I had described in details how to do Achamana. That is, Achamana can be described as one thing where we give water to the gods or ourselves while we wash our mouth, face and mouth. That's called Achamanam, giving water. Even while giving Achamanam to God also we do that. We give water. We also do the cleansing of the mouth in that process of Achamanam. Sipping the water, taking in the hands like that, cup like that of the, in the shape of a ear of the cow, Gokarna. Then sipping that without licking, touching the tongue or making it juta or uchista, sipping it in the sipping action, just taking that. You should not even make sounds for that and this. It should be just siphoning action. So sipping that water, then each time you sip that water, you have to tell the name of Vishnu. Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu. 3 times. Here we tell that Vishnu name. Some other people of different traditions, some people tell the name of the Vedas. Some people tell it as Keshavaya Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Different traditions are there. Let us not worry about it. Now here we will follow this tradition telling Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu. Then other different touching of the ear, nose and other things are there. I have already explained about this. I will not go to that. We will go to the proper mantra. After that, in the Achamana, that mantra, whatever we have to tell. Om Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayaha Diviva Chakshuratatam Om Apavitraha Pavitrova Sarvavasthangatopива Yah Smaret Pundarikaksham Sabahya Abhyantaraha Shuchihi. This is the mantra which is told. I have explained that. I have also given the transliteration, that is the spelling in English, the mantra, because many people will not know Sanskrit. So I have given that in English too, and also the meaning. But now I will just tell you the meaning because it's very, very beautiful and important. So the first part of the mantra This is a principal mantra in Rig Veda. It has been taken, that first part of the mantra. What is that? Om Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam. So that part of the mantra is taken from the Rig Veda. This is a shloka from Rig Veda, says about the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Now, the whole meaning of that Rigvedic mantra, I will just give you in brief. Note it. Just as the sun's rays in the sky are extended to the mundane vision, so in the same way, the wise and learned men of wisdom, men of realization, who have realized God, who have realized Vishnu, the learned devotees, the devotees full of wisdom of God, always see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu, because those highly praiseworthy and spiritually awakened, realized souls are able to see the spiritual world. They are also able to reveal that supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. So that is the meaning of that Rigvedic mantra, the first part of it. Om Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam, the highest abode of Lord Vishnu, Paramam Padam, Tad Vishnoho, that highest abode of Lord Vishnu, Paramam Padam, Sada, always, Pashyanti, they see, Surayaha, the realized soul, men of wisdom, great wisdom, who have realized God, Div, Diviva Chakshura Tatam, with their eyes of wisdom, Chakshuhu Atatam, Diviva Chakshuratatam. Then that is the first part of the mantra, which is taken from the Rig Veda. Then the other part, Om Apavitraha Pavitrova Sarvavasthangatopika Yahasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabahya Abhyantaraha Shuchihi. Very beautiful. We all think that by using the detergent, soaps, and other things, shampoos, we clean our body. The real cleansing internally and externally, how is it to be done? This mantra is telling us. So, just by repetition of the name of the Lord, remembering the Lord, what is going to happen? Om Apavitraha Pavitrova, whether you may be Apavitra, impure, Pavitrova, Pavitrahava, you may be pure. Sarva Avasthangatopika. Generally, there are three avasthas. Avastatraya. What are those avastatraya? The waking state. Now we are in the waking state. Then while we go to sleep, the first stage and the last stage will be sleeping. So it's called Jagrat Swapna. Swapna avastha, dreaming. Then in between you go to very deep sleep, you will not know anything. That is called Sushupti. So you may be in the Jagrat avastha or the Swapna avastha or the deep sleep Sushupti avastha. So in between you may have so many other avasthas also. Whatever the state of your mind also, it may differ. Even while waking, we see that people will be dreaming, daydreamers. Or even while attending the class, you can see some people are sleeping nicely, sitting there, closing their eyes. They'll be sitting. They think, even while eyes is open too, they may be sleeping. That's a different question. So whichever avastha, state you may be in, sarva avasthangataha apiva, you may be in whatever state you may be in. Yaha, whoever, smaret, remembers, pundarikaksham, God. Why that pundarikaksham? God is having the eyes like that of the lotus petals. The pundarikam is lotus. Aksham is eyes. Who is having the eyes like that of pundarika, lotus petals. That is God. Vishnu, or any God you can take place. You can take whether it is Divine Mother, whether it is Shiva, Ganesha, or anybody. Vishnu, Krishna, Rama, Subramanya, any God for that sake, whichever you love. So Yahasmaret Pundarikaksham Sa He Bahya, externally, Abhyamtaraha, internally, Shuchihi. Immediately, that instant you utter or remember God, then you get purified internally and externally, whichever this thing states you may be in. So do not worry in the external state, impurity and purity. The moment you utter the name of the Lord, the moment you remember God, then you are purified internally and externally. So beautiful mantra, what a beautiful thing. So we were struggling for so many years how to really get purified, how to purify our mind. Just by the repetition of the name of the Lord, just by remembering God, that is real purification. So this mantra is very, very important. That's why in the beginning, in the Achamanam itself, we are telling what is going to happen now by repetition of the name of the Lord, meditating on the Lord. In this whole puja, we'll be meditating over Ishtadevata, whomever we are worshipping. If you are devotees of Ramakrishna, you will be you are worshipping Ramakrishna. If you are devotees of Krishna, worship Krishna or Rama or Vishnu or Narayana or Devi. It may be Saraswati, it may be Lakshmi, it may be Parvati, it may be Ganesha, it may be Subramanya, whichever. So if you remember, you are purified. All gods are the same. So that's the meaning of this mantra, beautiful mantra. So I repeated it again and also chanted it. I've given this the English transliteration, that's the spelling of that in English, the mantras, everything last time. Now we'll go to the next step, that is called Samanya Arghya. What was the first step? Achamana. Achamanam. Giving water to rinse your mouth. So it is for you, the Achamanam. Giving Achamanam to God is different. While the Panchopachara, Doshopachara Puja start, there will be another Achamana to giving water to God for rinsing the mouth and other things. That's a different thing. I'll explain that later on. But now this Achamana is for ourselves, to cleanse ourselves. While cleansing our mouth, giving the water, sipping the water, we are telling the mantra of Vishnu, whereby externally and internally we are purified and we are touching different this thing to bring our mind to this state, because it will be roaming here and there. When you do the different touchings at different distinct points, then your mind will bring that whole disturbed and distracted thing here. Then by the repetition of the name of Vishnu, Vishnu is all pervading. The meaning of Vishnu, it means Sarvavyapi, who is everywhere. Mayat Pratyaya, everywhere the Lord is. Vishnu Mayam, Vishnu means itself all pervading. Mayam means again all pervading, everywhere, who is present everywhere. So when you think that, utter the name, see our mind just expands, crossing the whole universe everywhere. Vishnu means who is all pervasive. That's the meaning. So your mind expands. First you bring the focus, the concentration into this thing, then you expand it into the universe. So the concentration, beautiful. It will not get distracted here and there. Then the second step is Samanya Arghya. The simple meaning, Samanya means general. Then what is Arghya? I have to give a detailed meaning of what Arghya is. So in Sanskrit, Arghya, Arghya. So there are so many meanings in Sanskrit in the dictionary. Libation to the gods, rishis, or your forefathers. So giving libations, oblations, libation to gods, rishis, or your fathers, for forefathers, ancestors, is the general meaning of Arghya. So little more description, libation to gods, rishis or fathers, an important part of Sandhya Vandanam or puja or worship. Arghya Pradana, that is the Arghya Pradana. Offering of Arghya also means, the Arghya also means valuable or venerable. Valuable or venerable, deserving a respectful reception. So Arghya used at the respectful reception of guests. Arghya, water offered at the respectful reception. Some places Arghya is also used for a kind of honey, madhuparka and other things, oblation. So that is explained as oblation. Arghya is explained as a respectful offering or oblation to a god or venerable person. Then it often consists only of water, most of the times given in a drona. Drona means a container. It may be a pot, mud pot, or metal pot, or a container that is also called arghya in a container, drona, and forms part of Madhuparka ceremony, a kind of honey. So these are all the different explanation of arghya. So now after giving you the meaning in Sanskrit for arghya, we shall see what it means here in this tradition of tantras which we are handling in Ramakrishna Mat, according to the tradition of the Ramakrishna Mat, where we follow this tantric worship and the combination of Vedic worship. So what is arghya used to? This is to purify the water to be used in the puja. Whole of the puja we have to give achmana, padya, snaniya, so many other things. Water has to be given. So that is to be purified. So the pure water has to be given to the Lord. So this process of purifying that water, this is to purify the water to be used in the puja. That purified water and that process of purification is called general arghya or samanya arghya. Samanya means general. So you can write it down, samanya arghya. I shall tell you the spelling, samanya, S-A-M, sam, A, saman, N, S-A-M-A-N, ya, Y-A. So here ma is elongated, you have to stretch it. Just like there are two type of pronunciation of the vowel, just like see first vowel, a, that is you are using time of one matra. Just like we have in English seconds, milliseconds, or minutes, so the unit of time is called seconds. Like that, the smallest unit of time here in grammar, in Sanskrit grammar, is matra, one matra. If you use the time of one unit of time, that is one matra, to pronounce that vowel or letter, it is called hrasva, one unit of time, that is a. Then if you use two unit of time, that is two matras, to pronounce that letter, it is called dirgha. It's a little elongated than the hrasva, one unit. So it is two unit. Then if you use more than two units, three or more, it's called pluta. This is a, that is pluta. So these are the way the pronunciation of the letter or the time taken to pronounce the letter is differentiated. Okay, so now here samanya, it is ma is dirgha. So to show that dirgha in English, because in Sanskrit it is understood, but in English to make us understand that is a little elongated, that is dirgha. Then on that a, sa, no, that sign is not given. It is not elongated, it is not dirgha, but ma, sama. So after this m, the a, you have to put a vertical line on the top of the head. Then it is shown as saman, elongated or dirgha. Ya, ya, samanya. Arghya, A-R G-H-Y-A, Arghya, A-R-G-H-Y-A. So that is Samanya Arghya. The meaning is simple Arghya. I told you now, just now explained the meaning of Arghya. Now we are going into the process of Arghya. This Samanya Arghya is to purify the water to be used in the puja, in the worship. So how is it done? What is the ritual? How should we do it? So now you have to come to little geometry. We all have studied the basic in the mathematics, the geometry, isn't it? Algebra, geometry, and other things, arithmetic. So we shall go back to little geometry. So on the floor where you are doing puja, you are sitting on the asana, because in the beginning I have told about the asana, the seat on which we sit. So in front of you, you are sitting, you are facing the east or the north. So in front of you, in front of the asana where you are sitting on the ground, folding your legs, the Ardha Padmasana, half Padmasana, just like a lotus posture, half lotus posture, sitting, and in front of you on the ground, you have to draw. What is that in the center? What are you to draw? On the floor, in front, slightly to the left. On the floor, in front of you, slightly to the left, draw with the right hand ring finger. This is the ring finger. You know, I need not explain the finger to which you put the ring. So this is called the thumb, Angushta. This is Tarjani. Tor, the Tarjani. This is the Tarjani finger. So this is the pointing or index finger. And this is the middle finger, Madhyama. And this is the Angushta. Sorry. This is the, what you call, ring finger. Then this is the last one, Kanishta. So this is the ring finger, which with we have to draw the line here, the ring finger. Okay. So now I have explained the name of the fingers, Angushta. Then this is Tarjani. This is Madhyama. Then this is the ring finger. Then this is the Kanishta, the last one, the small finger, little finger. So with this ring finger, we are now drawing what geometrical figure? We know that concentric means for all these three diagrams which are now we are drawing, the center will be the one. Now suppose in the circle we have the center point. So the triangle also we will have a center point. Then the square also we have a central point. If all the three diagrams have one single center, that is called concentric. So I have the diagram here. How can I show you? I think I don't have the technical way of showing it to you. Even if I show some diagram like this, it will be the reverse. But even then, I will show you the picture, how to draw. There's a picture. If possible, you can see it. Not it's here. So the picture is first you have to draw a triangle, then concentric circle. Next, this thing is circle, then a concentric square. So this is called the diagram mandala. So I have written that with the ring finger, taking little water, right ring finger dipped in water, a triangle, a circle, enclosing it, and then a square around that concentric. Worship this diagram. Worship this diagram with flowers besmeared with sandal paste, saying Om. Now you have to take flower, you besmear that with sandal paste. Two types of sandal paste will be there. The white one, which is called Shweta Chandana. Then the red one, sandal paste, the pasted that sandal paste is called Rakta Chandana. Rakta means red one. So you have to dip the flower, one small flower, with this both red and white sandal paste, and then take it, tell the mantra Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Adhara Shaktyadibhyo Namaha. After while you are telling the Namaha, you have to worship that mandala that you have drawn, that three pictures there, geometrical concentric triangle, concentric circle, and concentric square. So on that you have to worship with this flower. What is the meaning of that? Om. Om, you know, that is the mantra, the important mantra. Om. Ete means this. Gandha and Pushpa. Gandha Pushpe. Adhara Shakti Adibhyo. So there are so many Shakti or powers, energies, deities of the Adhara, the basis, the ground forces, the basics forces, the basis, Adhara, which support us, supporting energies. So there are many. So you can't go on repeating. On special days we will worship every Adhara Shakti with different flowers. But here, because This is not the ordinary worship, Dashopachara or Panchopachara. We don't do all the details. We will only, just like if there are 15 boys or girls, we tell the first name of somebody, the leader, and rest of them. Suppose Ram and rest of the other 15 people, I am giving this thing to you. Likewise, Om Ete Gandha Pushpe, this flower besmeared with sandal paste is given to worship. First one is Adhara Shakti, Adibhyo, to all the others. Namaha, I give this flower. So I will tell you now the English letters to tell you the mantra. Om, you know. Ete, Y E A T T E, Y E T E, Ete. Gandha, G A N D H A, Gandha. Pushpe, P U S. So S, there are 2-3 varieties here. Sa, Sha, Sha. So this one, the middle one, Sha. So to show that Sha, we put one stroke on the head. Or else you can write SH. P-U-S-H, Pushpe, P-E, Pushpe. Adhara, A-D-H-A-R-A, Adhara, R-A. So here Adha is elongated. That means you have to put a stroke on that A. D-H-A. Adhara. Shaktyadibhyo, Shakti, Shaktya, S-H-A-K, Shakti, Shaktya, T-Y-A, Shaktya, Dhi, D-H-I, Dhi, Bhyo, B-H-Y-O. So Adhara Shaktyadibhyo Namaha, N-A-M-A-H. So the letters are over now. Om Ete Gandha Pushpe Adhara Shaktyadibhyo Namaha. You worshipped it. So now because time is over, we will stop the discussion of the ritual and the mantras for today. There was very good mantra which I had to invoke all the 7 Sapta Nadis into that because time is up. So we will discuss that in the next class. For today, this much is enough. So we will close this discussion with the mantra. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prenite Prenitam Jagat Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. We will discuss about this puja and the science of worship in the next class, the same time next week. That's next Monday, the evening at the same time. We will again meet and discuss about the science of worship and the rituals and the pujas and other mudras. So until then, you can study, revise all those things and get ready, practice the chanting of the mantras, and you can also get it by heart, memorize the mantras. Next time, you can even chant before I do that, you can also chant with me. Thank you. Namaskar.